All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking Cincinnati Bengals with $33 million to spend. That is the sixth best in the NFL, with a very deep draft in a bunch of positions that are most likely going to be of service, like the tight end, the cornerback position, offensive tackles. This offseason appears like it is set up perfectly for this Cincinnati Bengals team to take that leap and get them a Super Bowl champion next season. Now, we have less than a week, or actually, we have 8 days at the time of this recording until free agency begins. But we are less than a week away, actually, on March 13th, where the negotiation window opens up and teams can start making their moves. Now, we've seen in recent off seasons that this Bengals team is not afraid to spend money and they are not afraid to make big time moves. Now, you do have some guys like Joe Burrow, hopefully T. Higgins. You have some contract extensions coming up, so keep that in mind. Joe Burrow, I anticipate, is going to happen sooner rather than later. There's a bunch of guys on this current team that are set to hit free agency. But we did hear Duke Tobin say that this Bengals team is going to spend the cap this season, which has a lot of Bengals fans excited about. Now, personally, where I think this team is going to do the most damage, I think it's going to be on the offensive line. All right. Less than 2 hours ago, left tackle Donovan Smith actually just got released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That team is full-blown rebuild. They saved like $10 million in cap space. Donovan Mitchell, oh my goodness. Donovan Smith has a Super Bowl championship, right, with TB12 and that Buccaneers team. He was actually drafted by Tampa Bay all the way back in 2015. Time certainly flies. He's only 29 years old, though, so it wasn't that long ago. He's perfectly in his prime right now. He was a second-round pick, and he is as reliable as they come. As reliable as they come. Now, the left tackle position is interesting because you had Jonah Williams start there last season. Now, just in general, the offensive line position, it got decimated by the end of the season. They made improvements from the start to the end of the season on the offensive line, like phenomenal. But Jonah Williams really suffered last season. He allowed the most sacks of any offensive tackle in the NFL through the regular and postseason with 13. Now, we alluded to it in the beginning of this video. It's a really deep draft for offensive tackles. All right. They actually met with Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. I would not be surprised if they were to snag him. He's versatile in college at Tennessee. He had 27 starts at right tackle, 13 at left tackle, 2 at the right guard even. So versatile player, and he's just the tip of the iceberg as far as depth you can continue to acquire. Like, you could realistically sign Donovan Smith for just having a proven winner, a Super Bowl champ on your team, a veteran-esque leader, and you could also draft a guy like Darnell Wright and keep Jonah Williams, because what we realized in the playoffs and at the end of the season when you had guys just going down on the offensive line is the more the merrier. All right, the more the merrier. I wouldn't even be surprised if Hayden Hurst were to get re-signed by this Cincinnati Bengals team and then they draft a tight end in the second round or what have you. It's good because you want to preserve your players. It's a long season. And with Cincinnati, we've realized that the last 2 years, obviously this past year didn't end how Bengals fans wanted it to end. It ended. I don't even want to talk about it, really. It was very unideal. It was very unfortunate. I'm sorry to all my Bengals fans, because that's not how you want to go down. But you're 2 years away, 2 years ago, made the Super Bowl, which at the time and still is extremely impressive. And it's just, to me, I'm not saying this squad is about to go all in and spend a bunch of money in free agency. I do anticipate they are going to spend their money. I think it's going to be with contract extensions and the proper free agent moves. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if they were to take a big time shot at somebody. Big time shot. It'll probably be on the defensive side because offensively speaking, you're locked and loaded. All right, you have Joe Burrow. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have hopefully a nice running back duo again. Samaje Perine, hopefully they can re-sign him. I'm looking forward to hopefully Samaje coming back to Cincinnati. He was huge when Mixon went down with that concussion, and just in general, I like the way the Bengals utilize him. But my point is, the Bengals offseason, and we've been talking about this on the channel, which, by the way, if you guys like daily NFL content, I post a ton of Bengals videos, so be sure to hit the like button, hit that sub button for more. We've been talking about it all offseason. I know the season ended in an unideal way, but this offseason it's literally like it's tailored for Cincinnati. It really feels as if there's really three positions that this team can, and who knows, maybe guys like Jesse Bates will be back. Who knows, maybe Hayden Hurst will be back. Maybe some of these cats will be back, but I'm going to just assume they're not going to get everybody back, right? Like Jermaine Pratt probably won't be a Bengal next season as much as we all want him to. They can't bring everybody back. It's just that would be next to impossible. So the tight end position, this is such a deep draft. You're not going to take I really hope they don't take a tight end at 28. Like, even if it was Michael Mayer, I really don't think that is in their best interest. There should be guys like, take a Utah tight end. There should be plenty of tight ends available after the first. Like, there's going to be a ton of tight ends available after the first round. Let me fix that. Quarterback position, free agency, that's a position where I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not a Jalen Ramsey trade, but hopefully you get the gist as far as what I'm getting at there. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to use that cornerback spot and just make a big ass move. Keep in mind as well, Dax Hill was drafted last season and didn't see too much playing time this year, right? Well, it was when they drafted him, he was considered a steal with where they acquired him in the draft. So a lot of Bengals fans feel the same way. I mean, first round last season, if Jesse Bates is gone, Dax Hill coming in, former 31st pick in the draft last season. He could have a huge impact on this team. Offensive tackle, we already mentioned it at the beginning of the video, but like, those are really the only three positions I could see them making some moves at. I really don't know where else. I mean, maybe some defensive edge rusher depth. Wouldn't be surprised with that. But for the most part, depending on who you retain in free agency and who you lose in free agency, I hope that the Bengals are in a position where they can just continue to bolster their roster. I'm not too worried about the order of these draft picks. I'm not too worried if they go OT in the first round and then cornerback in the second round or vice versa. I really just want the best. I'd even take the best players available in general, but especially at those three highlighted positions. There's just no way with all this money, $33 million to spend in free agency, they're just seriously looking so good. And I know a lot of Bengals fans feel the same way, but to me, the biggest thing is get that offensive line depth so you don't run into the same issue last year. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys later.